Hey, welcome back. So number 4, just walking and talking. So we've all heard the phrase, right? Serious as a heart attack. So we wanted to dive into that phrase a little bit, you know. I mean, we've accepted it, and just through our culture and through our language, as it evolved into understanding, without a shadow of a doubt, heart attack is a serious issue, right? But what are we doing? Like, what are we doing to combat that? You know, we're talking about physical wellness. Understanding that our body is not, it's not a rental car. You know, we're not going to pay $10 for the extra insurance, go out and enter it in street races or drag races just because it's a, you know, cooler car. Put it through something it wasn't intended to do. Or are we? You know, I got thinking about this because getting into colder weather, getting into the season where snow is going to be on the ground, are we prepared physically to be able to deal with that? Increase in heart attack due to snow shoveling, cold, extra stress, extra strain, all that is a real thing. Every year the news is filled with people that had a heart attack shoveling their driveways. Right, so we shovel our driveways at home, and then a lot of times we come to work and we shovel the pathways off at work. If you're in recreation, you might be shoveling in areas around parking lots, clearing that so you can get more parking and create safer environments. But are we ready? Have we tried? Or do we sit and do the minimum? So the idea behind this is they're giving a little bit of knowledge about the physiological changes that go through your body and how you can be better prepared and why you would be better prepared for that type of work and why it's important. I mean, we all know that like cardiovascular training is important, but why? So let's dive into that. So we wouldn't plug our microwave in at our house into a plug that has, you know, speaker wire. We'll say speaker wire that runs to it. I mean, sure, it might work for a little bit, and then it's eventually that's gonna drown out. So the human body and the brain, the first 6 to 8 weeks of any sort of exercise program are going to produce physiological changes. Some of the first ones are increasing the size of that wire. So we're going from speaker wire to the correct size wire for the load, right? So if that load's a 120, we're going to be like a 12.2. If that load's like a 220, 230, that's like for a dryer, it's going to be bigger wire, right? So that's like the neurological adaptations. So understanding what we have to do and how to maximally function, the musculoskeletal system to act on the levers that move the body. At the same time we're doing that, we need more power, right? So we can increase the wires, but we haven't necessarily increased the amount of power we can send through there. That's where the next adaptations come in. So when you start an exercise program, you don't really get results for 6 weeks. That's because we're building the foundation. And in building that foundation, we're talking about initially you increase blood volume. So the amount of blood in your body increases. Well, that increase puts a little bit of extra preloading stress on your heart. So your ejection fraction goes up. The amount of blood that goes out of your heart with every pump goes up because it's preloaded. We have more pressure. And to deal with that extra pressure or extra volume of blood, we actually increase our capillary density. So by increasing the capillary density, you have better blood flow to the muscles, to the organs, to everything else in your body. So after we increase blood volume and we increase capillary density, we can't function without oxygen. So what we actually end up happening is we increase alveolar density. So the little sacs in your lungs that look like a bunch of grapes, the density of those, the number of those increases, so we can take up more oxygen to feed this increased blood supply. So by doing all those things, 6 weeks is what it takes for that to happen. And then and then the cycle kind of goes over and over and over and over and over again. And then we can talk about like hypertrophy, muscle growth, we can do that at a later time. But for right now, are you ready? Is your system ready? Is your engine ready? Or do you have the foundation, that good pyramid-based foundation, to be able to work in the environment or under the stress that you're working under? If you're doing snow shoveling, heavy work, working in the cold, working in this upcoming season, or are we trying to microwave a baked potato connected to speaker wire? So it might be able to do it for a little bit, but that wire is going to fail. So we need to invest in ourselves to be able to do the work that we want to do. We shouldn't ever come to work and by just doing work, just having to do the work to get to our office or anything else, be exhausted for the rest of the week. And we need to know the signs and the symptoms of these cardiac incidents. We need to look at it, but we also need to take some ownership. Take ownership of ourselves. It's one thing to sit in training, to read the information and know the information. It's another thing to put it into practice. Going along with, hey, work hard. So let's do the hard work. Let's be prepared for the hard work. And being kind, right? So how does this tie in with work hard, be kind, which is the big message we're trying to get across? Exercise and increasing your capacity for work is a very personal thing, but it can also be a very social thing. So getting people to come with you, if that's a lunchtime walk, start with a walk around the parking lot. Move that walk to 2 laps around the parking lot, maybe a little bit out and back. Take advantage of the wellness program. Get those 3 hours a week for non-fire employees, and get in there and start doing something. Invest in yourselves as much as you invest in the agency. It's contagious. Walking alongside of somebody where you can still hold a conversation, which would be LSD running or LSD movement, long, slow distance. You can have a good conversation. You can get to know somebody on a little bit better level. Having that, really just good, genuine relationship with somebody where they feel like they're cared for and they're cared about in the work environment by people. Now that's the being kind aspect of it. You're helping them to get better. You're bringing them along with you on your journey to get better, and you're sharing something together that allows for that mental health aspect of it, that physical health aspect of it. Maybe it's the work-life balance, and you guys are building the relationship and helping each other. So you are working hard and being kind. So I challenge everybody today, go out, take a walk. And on your way out of the office, when you're going out to take your walk, be it break, lunchtime, whenever, invite one other person just to take a walk with you. And on that walk, ask them, hey, how's your week been? Don't talk about work. Talk about each other. Invest in each other. The most precious commodity or most precious thing we have in any sort of agency is the human element. So let's invest in that human element, invest in ourselves, and invest in others. So for that, go out, work hard, be kind. I'll see you next week.